Welcome to the mystical land that is joannaland. I am your host, Joanna Dreiling, and I am beyond excited to be on this journey of transformation over a lifetime with you. This is a space dedicated to your highest evolution and our collective igniting a deeper humanhood. Let's roll, baby. Shall we just pick up exactly where we left off? I am so sorry to ghost you. Over the past 4 months, I have been operating, LOL, navigating one of the most gnarly, if not the gnarliest, grief portal and uncouplings that I've ever experienced. One of my greatest fears of last year came to light, and I sit here on the other side, hoping that I'll get through most of this podcast without really actually shedding a tear, but we'll see. And, I'm sitting here and there's a lot to be learned from this situation in the realm of attraction, magnetics, energetics of the masculine and feminine, and attachment styles. It's so deep. And there's probably, it's so, is it making everything so much more clear? And, in terms of my mission, and today, the biggest thing that I want to impart today, there was so much value that I gleaned and wisdom that I uncovered from an awful point in my life, one of the worst points in my life. Because that's just what I'm going to do. That's just how I roll. I'm never going to not find the lesson in the shitty thing. I'm just never not. And so today, that's really what this episode is about. And I want to start it by saying, really, truly is so trite, but you really have to feel it to heal it. And I'm not suggesting going to the deepest depths of your trauma in order to feel it and get through to heal it. I'm not suggesting that. When you do not have the proper support for that, do not do that, y'all. No. And what I am saying is that when you feel something, feel it. Feel it. Feel it. If it's not going to re-traumatize you to feel it, you need to freaking feel it. Because the more that you feel it, the more that you heal yourself and your whole lineage. Back in July, I think it was, June, I released an episode and shared that I had started seeing somebody. It was one of my best friends, and it was only because he was my best friend that I even contemplated a romantic relationship with him. And it was because he was my best friend that I was willing to overlook some lowered standards on my part to be in relationship with him romantically. Which is why he had just remained my friend for as long as he had been my friend. And as I said, we could journey and we could uncover so many beautiful, there's so much gold in this relationship in terms of wisdom, I swear. Anyways, and there's so many episodes to share, but there is a lot that transpired over this time, and more or less, I finally came to the point in December and made one of the hardest choices of my life to end things romantically with him. And in retrospect, while it was something I had been thinking about, it also still felt rash in a way. In the sense that there was no discussion, really. And my decision seemed made. it wasn't. I came to learn. And somebody who I thought unconditionally loved me cut me out of his life for probably ever. And I'll probably never talk to him again. And my worst fear of losing him came true. And wow. Did I sit with and feel everything that I did not want to feel about myself over this last 4 months? He was my life raft last year. And I think in so many ways we were each other's life rafts. I needed him so much, and I did not want to admit to anybody, even myself, how much I needed him and how much he was truly supporting me through a really, really tough time in my life. And I do think that his energy had an influence on what was being created in my life, but it is the reality that relationships are co-created. We can never sit here and blame somebody for being wholly avoidant when it's a co-created thing. And how we are showing up is also leading to a way that they are acting. And maybe instead of blaming them for their avoidance, we should question why they are in such avoidance. Maybe that should give us a sign that something isn't quite right here. But that requires presence and awareness, and, something that I've been really reflecting on in this time in this grief portal, which I struggle to call it a breakup and even an uncoupling because we never became official. And the breakup, it's bigger than a breakup for me because it is I lost my person. I lost the most important person in my life, and he's somebody I never thought I would have to lose. But losing him made it so clear how much there was a lot that I wasn't feeling, and that there was a lot that I was avoiding about myself and about my experience, about my mission. And that there's been, every year almost has been another layer of the lesson of forfeiting my mission for other people. Especially as women, we have a tendency to forfeit and please our way through our lives, and it is genuinely making us sick. And it made me sick. It made me in debt physically and financially and emotionally. And there's just it. Yeah. And every year has been a layer and layer deeper of seeing how that happens. And now in this last 4 months, I got really brutally honest. If you couldn't tell, there was a depth of honesty that was so raw, it burned me alive. Dead ass. I mean, I'm being serious. And it was fruitful. It was. It really, really was. And I'll tell you why, and this is going to bring it back to the train of thought, is that what I realized in our relationship between him and I over this last year is that he and I were both going through such deep, horrible things within our personal lives. Yes, we were there supporting each other, but it caused our whole relationship to be grounded in fear. So therefore, it could never thrive. So therefore, I could not trust it. So therefore, I avoided it. Therefore he was not holding his whole truth and how he felt about me. And at some point I wanted to be with him, right? I desired for him to claim me. I wanted him to ask me to be his partner more than anything in the world. And he never did. And the fact that he never did made me feel like he didn't want to. And then he started acting all weirdly clingy. And then it became like, and that needy energy is so unmagnetic and just so unattractive. And that's where like the attraction point comes in. And then I was holding the masculine in the relationship and it was getting me down and like, oh my gosh. And I just had to let it go. Because there was just so much fear that I could not do it. And like, yes, could I have waited to have a conversation with him and us actually had a discussion and I started in therapy sooner? Sure. And also like everything that I have sat through in the last 4 months, like I have cried every day of this year so far. 4 whole months. And the depth of the places that I've brought myself, like I thought I knew myself, y'all. I thought I had intimacy with myself. I thought I knew myself. But wow, do I know myself? And it is like, I do not use this word often, but I loathe the situation and how it has transpired. And like, there is so much a part of me that has not fully healed in this. And also like, wow. It brings me to tears, the gratitude that I feel for how much I know myself now because of this. Like how much ripping every human, basically, it feels like, including the most important person, and bringing me down just to my family and the bare bones of my roots. Like, literally, it is no accident to me that I am living on my mother's property in my hometown with a gorgeous view of the mountains, which ground me and center me and bring me back to my heart, greater than just about anything other than the ocean and the water, you know what I'm saying? But there is no accident that I am here with my family and at home for this process, being brought back to my roots, because this process, this grief portal, brought me back to my roots, brought me back to a more earnest truth of myself. Like, truly, a more earnest truth of myself. And I mean that in the sense of that when you are the hype queen, there's a bit of a pressure to hold that. And last year and years had actually passed of me not feeling that way. And it just felt so incongruent for that to be what the world saw. But then I feel so sad and like depressed all the time. Not all the time, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of the time. It's like, am I the hype teen queen? Like, what are we really doing here? Like, and like, it's not like I wasn't feeling my feelings, but like we weren't going as deep as we could. You know what I'm saying? There was still a layer that I was avoiding and sidestepping. It's like, especially when we have like a deep level of self-awareness, we know exactly, like we see that shit, but we sideswipe it. We like act like we can't see what's in the blind spot. And then we go about our merry way, and eventually you can't ignore it. At some point, the truth will always come out, especially with yourself. Especially when you live a life of evolution and you're desiring to evolve yourself. And the greater truth that you can give yourself, the greater opportunity for expansion you have. Much in the same way that the greater level that you feel it, the greater level that you have to actually heal it, because it's not just something that is sitting in your brain or that has moved to ground into your body, but it is something that is moved through your being and has been expelled and transformed and alchemized into a different energy. And that is the power of feeling it to heal it. That is the alchemicalization point. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're making it a word. Add it to the Japanese dictionary. That is the alchemicalization point, is when you actually allow yourself to feel it. Your feelings are only really a 2-minute section of time. The loop of an emotion is 2 minutes long, good or bad. So if we allow that loop fully through, rather than stuffing it down, actually allow the emotion to run its course, then guess what is going to happen? It's probably going to be a little bit longer that you don't experience that emotion. But also on the flip side of that, if you feel it through and you continue to feel it, it's probably your mind looping the thought that is eliciting the emotion. So that is a flip side to how to look at that. I feel largely complete. And if this conversation ignited you in any way, I want to invite you into my Energy Alchemy Masterclass. This is my signature masterclass that teaches you the process of energy alchemy, the process of what I talked about in this conversation, the process of really feeling it to heal it, and the energetics of life that then, how you can then amplify that in your world. So if that is something that you're interested in, that will be in the show notes. And otherwise, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you do, and there will be a coupon code with that masterclass for the podcast listeners. So it will be half off for you all. And thank you for being here. As always, my appreciation for you, and especially if you're still here listening now, my appreciation for you runs absolutely so deep. And I love you. I'll see you soon. Casio, playing on my heart just like a Casio, breaking it apart so you can let it go. Don't think that my love is gone. It's all up in your head now. Don't think that my love is gone. It's all up in your head now. Don't think that my love is gone. It's all up in your head now.